Mutton stew is a common dish in the Cuman-populated regions of the Great Hungarian Plain. The warrior Cumans, who arrived as a nomadic people, drove the flock along with them to utilize as a food supply, eating them rain or shine, and for occasions such as folk days, birthdays, christenings, and at wakes. Quite appropriately, Karcag mutton stew and its preparation method were selected among the first Hungarikums, since its consumption and preparation also possesses community and family bonding qualities. We arrived as an animal-keeping nomadic people. Our ancestors brought the grassland culture with themselves that exists to this day in Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and Western China. The landscape's attributes led to sheep becoming a main source of food. And here mutton and sheep meat receives special emphasis. It's a celebration food. On the weekends before noon, an actual mutton stew cloud rises in the air across the city. If there's a name day or a holiday, we eat mutton. Not a schnitzel, not this, not that. The family sticks together, we eat and speak the same. It bonds the group together. It's a good way to spend time, then afterward the group consumes together what they cook together.
It was not only on family occasions. If a child completed school, then the family gathered together. They chatted to catch up after not seeing each other for some time, and then they celebrated with a mutton lunch or dinner.
Karcag mutton is not cooked in a hidden place or a kitchen, nor out back where no one can see, but always in a place of prominence, visible to everyone. Today, this Hungarikum is not just the main course at family celebrations, but it is frequently served at get-togethers by friends on the weekends. The attributes of the Karcag landscape are favorable for sheep. The plants that grow in the salty soil become a seasoning in the mutton. The Good Shepherd knows when and where to graze his flock to ensure that the stew will be tasty. That's why it tastes like this. These sheep, they graze in this area in these salty pastures.
The attentive shepherd ensures the best selection of meadows for his flock. It is almost like an amazing table set for the sheep.
In winter, they receive the same feed in dried form. You need the salty pasture. Preparing the mutton begins in the pen, where the cook selects the most suitable animal. According to experience, a 3 to 4-year-old animal is best for mutton stew. They usually slaughter the sheep a day before cooking. They cut it in two, dry it, and prepare the internal organs, entrails, the head, and hooves for cooking. This consists of searing the head and hooves, and then preparing and cleaning them. In other words, what you need to do for this.
The
Karcag mutton stew is cooked in a kostroy, more commonly known as a pot outside of Karcag. It is an iron pot with a flat bottom that you can see here. One sheep fits into one pot. These days, the animal is cut into smaller portions with a bone saw in order to prevent splinters from finding their way into the stew. The pot is lined with grease. At the bottom, we add the bony parts of the mutton, then the meaty parts, which should not be cut into small pieces, or as a person from Karcag would say, the length of a matchstick. Roughly half to 3/4 kilograms of fat are placed in the pot, on which we begin to stew the mutton. In the meantime, we season it with dried hot peppers, adding salt later. The point is that by the time it has released its juices, we add the raw onions and garlic, for it is prepared without additional water. Once it has the appropriate consistency, we add the ground paprika. And it will appropriately flavor and color our stew. If we only include the traditional seasonings, then it can be stored at any temperature. If I cook this stew and place it out in the sun, it will not spoil. We always joke that we add spicy ground paprika so that you can tell you're not eating cream of wheat. The good mutton cooks seasons gradually in order to arrive at the suitable final flavor. For as old wisdom dictates, you cannot remove, but you can always add. Naturally, you must know that, as we say, everything from its ear to its tail is included. Nothing is wasted. The Cumans were a frugal people. They did not throw anything out that could be used. Parts of the animal, such as its bone, can be used in crafts, just like how we've used a shank bone for our pocket knife cases. This region is the only one where it is characteristic to add the seared sheep's head. We cut the skull in two lengthwise, turn the marrow inside out, and sprinkle it with salt, pepper, and paprika. Tied back together, we place the head in the stew. The head is always served to the guest of honor, who can be a high-ranking individual or an elder, and this is considered a special treat.
Usually, the homeowner or the person who cooked the head places it on the table in front of the guest, who then tastes it, cuts it, and distributes it amongst those sitting near them before passing it around. In theory, everyone is supposed to receive a portion, but that's not always the case. We took the first Kazakhstani ambassador accredited to Hungary to a lunch here in Karcag, and as is customary with a Karcag mutton stew, the head was served. The ambassador asked if we did this because we knew that the Kazakhstanis also cooked the head, and that we served him with it to honor the guest. We replied that we did not know that the Kazakhstanis also serve the head, but that this is also our custom as well.
If someone arrives here from afar, they are amazed that we also have this custom of serving the head to the guest. Or at the wedding reception, the stew is taken to the bride with the sheep's tail added. This is a ritualistic custom. It is a symbol of fertility. Once the head has been flavored and placed into the stew, all of the offal is also added. Here we can see that all of its ingredients have been added. Here's the hooves, nicely cut, almost without any gaps, and the offal next to the head. And the nicely cut and clean tripe. This all goes into the pot, and when cooked together, the final product is an excellent meal. For a good mutton, it needs at least 3.5 to 4 hours to cook properly. Naturally, the cooks taste the stew while it cooks alongside a few drinks. There are Hungarikums among the ingredients as well. Mako onions are also a Hungarikum. Paprika is also a Hungarikum, as is wine spritzer, salonna, and palinka. It's good now.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs a bit more salt. Preparing the mutton and the traditions associated with it is a point of pride in Karcag. As Hungarians, we can rightly love this local virtue, which as a Hungarikum rightly deserves attention. When I arrived in Budapest as a university student and began my studies, I discovered that there are people who don't like mutton. I found this experience to be shocking and could not understand at the time how this person did not starve to death. For such a person grew up in the Nagykunság region, it's likely that their plate would have frequently remained empty. We live tradition. We don't preserve tradition, like some who occasionally present this science. But we live it, and to this day it is an important part of our everyday lives. And we hope this will remain so for a long time to come.
Szeresd, mert a miénk.
Becsüld, mert magyar.